You ever wonder if the way we're building artificial intelligence is, well, the only way? We tend to think of AI as this purely digital thing, right? All code and silicon, but its story is so much deeper, so much more intertwined with biology. It's like this incredible story of a student and a teacher, where the student got so powerful, it actually started helping the teacher understand itself. So let's dive into this amazing coevolution. Okay, so take a look at these two images. On the left, you've got a human organization. It's structured, it's hierarchical, everything flows from the top down. And on the right, that beautiful, chaotic dance of neural signals in the brain. For decades, we've been building AI in the image of the system on the left. But what if the real secret to intelligence, the real key to being adaptable, has been hiding in the system on the right this whole time?
To really get where we're going with all this, we've got to go back to the beginning. The very first ideas for artificial intelligence didn't just pop out of pure mathematics. No, they came from scientists looking inward at the incredible machine that's sitting inside our own skulls.
And the way they first copied biology, it was almost comically direct. On the left, that's a real biological neuron. You've got dendrites that receive signals, the soma or cell body that processes them, and the axon that sends a new signal out. And on the right, that's the artificial version. The inputs are like the dendrites, and then these mathematical weights and biases, they act like the soma, deciding which signals actually matter. It's a simplified copy, for sure, but it's a direct copy of nature's blueprint.
And this is the key thing to remember here. At first, it was all a one-way street. Neuroscientists would find out something cool about the brain, and then computer scientists would rush to try and model it on a computer. Biology was the teacher, and the machine was just the student, desperately trying to keep up. But that relationship was about to get flipped on its head, big time.
And then things just exploded. Thanks to these massive leaps in computing power, the student didn't just learn, it started evolving on its own terms. It started developing skills that went way, way beyond what it was first inspired by. And the scale of this leap is, well, it's honestly hard to wrap your head around.
Just get this number in your head, 5 months. According to the latest AI Index report, that's how fast the computing power used for training the biggest AI models is doubling. Every 5 months. That kind of growth it's just unlike almost anything else we've ever seen in technology.
And this isn't just a blip on the radar. In 2024 alone, U.S. institutions cranked out 40 significant new AI models. That's more than double what China produced and way more than Europe. So development isn't just getting faster, it's also getting more concentrated.
And this is where the story completely flips. AI got so good at finding tiny patterns in enormous, messy datasets that neuroscientists started using it on the brain itself. We're talking about sifting through everything from high-res fMRI scans to the genetic code of a single neuron. The student was now the one helping the teacher make new discoveries.
And we are not talking about just spotting patterns anymore. AI can now chew on problems that require really deep, abstract thinking, like this graduate-level chemistry question. The fact that it can reason its way through something like this, that's a massive leap from just processing data to something that looks an awful lot like genuine reasoning.
So AI is powerful. It's getting smarter by the second, and it's even helping us understand our own brains. Case closed, right? The machine's won. Well, not exactly. Because some researchers started asking this really important question. Is all this raw number-crunching power the same thing as the flexible, resilient intelligence we see all around us in nature? And that really gets to the heart of it. We've built our AI on this very rigid stack of human-designed rules, from the physical silicon chip all the way up to the lines of code. It's incredibly powerful for sure, but it can also be brittle. It doesn't really adapt at its lowest levels. It just follows the instructions we gave it. Biology, as it turns out, is playing a completely different game.
This quote from some recent research just hits the nail on the head. Think about it. A bureaucracy is great for solving problems it's seen before, but you throw something new at it, and it just grinds to a halt. Biology, on the other hand, is built for the unexpected, and its secret weapon is that it delegates the power to adapt. This whole idea is called delegated control, and what it means is that in a living system, a single cell or a small cluster of neurons doesn't have to wait for an email from headquarters to make a decision. It can react and adapt to what's happening right there in its local environment. And that makes the whole system unbelievably flexible and tough.
Probably the best analogy for this is the military idea of mission command. Instead of a general trying to micromanage every single soldier from a bunker miles away, a high-level goal is set, something like, take that hill. Then, the teams on the ground are totally empowered to figure out how to do it based on what they're seeing in real time. They can even bend the rules if they need to. The feedback is instant, and it's just way more effective than a rigid, top-down command. Biology works exactly like this.
So this brings us full circle. We started by copying a simple model of a neuron, then we kind of veered off into this world of pure computation, and now researchers are coming back to biology, but with a much, much deeper appreciation for how it works. They're trying to build a new kind of AI, one that has biology's secret weapon baked right in, that delegated, multi-level adaptation. First up, you've got neuromorphic computing. Now, this isn't just about software. This is about building completely new kinds of computer chips. Chips like Intel's Low-He Hi-2. They don't just crunch numbers 24/7. Instead, they use spikes, just like a real neuron, firing only when there's new information to deal with. This makes them ridiculously energy efficient, a lot more like an actual brain. But okay, if you thought that was wild, get ready for DNA logic circuits. I'm not kidding. Scientists are now using DNA, the literal building block of life, to actually perform computations. They can create these tiny molecular-level logic gates to build neural networks inside a test tube. And they can use them for amazing things, like classifying diseases based on genetic markers. This is computing with the very stuff of life. And this idea isn't just stuck inside a lab or a computer. It's walking around in the real world. Bio-inspired robotics isn't just about making a robot look like a dog. It's about copying the fundamental principles of how animals move and control their bodies. And by doing that, engineers are seeing huge improvements, like up to 25% better energy efficiency than you get with old-school rigid robot designs. They're learning from millions of years of nature's research and development. So where does all this lead? It leads us to the ultimate conclusion of this coevolution story. It's not just about AI learning from biology anymore. We are now entering a new era where the lines between the two are being actively and deliberately erased. We're seeing the dawn of these true hybrid technologies. We're talking about things like direct brain-computer interfaces, the creation of living robots called xenobots, and the totally mind-bending field of organoid intelligence. Brain-computer interfaces are probably the ones you've heard the most about, but modern AI has put them on steroids. AI algorithms can now decode the brain's signals so well that a person can control a robotic arm just by thinking about it. But it's a two-way street. The system can also send signals back to the brain, letting a user literally feel the texture of an object that the prosthetic hand is holding.
And to really see where this is all going, you have to meet the Xenobot. This is not a robot made of metal and wires. It is a living machine, built from the embryonic cells of a frog. An AI actually designs its body shape, and then scientists assemble it. And these tiny biorobots can move around, work together as a team, and even heal themselves if they get damaged. This is a fundamentally new class of machine, a living one.
And that brings us to what might be the most profound frontier of all, organoid intelligence. Scientists can now grow these tiny, simplified models of a human brain in a petri dish. They're called organoids. And the whole goal of this field is to connect these living brain cultures to traditional computer hardware, creating a hybrid computer that uses actual biological neurons to process information. So that leaves us with this massive question. We started this whole journey with machines trying to imitate the brain. Now we're building living machines and literally teaching brain cells how to compute. As this convergence gets faster and faster, the difference between what's artificial and what's biological might just stop having any real meaning at all.